watching the Original Music Podcast. With your host, Raymond Hemms.
So now we start.
Well, let's get this thing going. Hey, episode 72 tonight. We have Morgan Rose and Nathan Oots with us. You guys, I can't believe you're in studio. This is going to be fun trying to corral Mr. Nathan over there.
No, I'm good.
He's already holding his guitar wrong. So already
Say that about me. I'm holding it wrong.
That's the Eric.
Oh God, he's lefty.
Yeah, that's the Eric Gales model too. To have it strong righty, but play it lefty.
You know Tim Cave's left-handed. He knows Tim. You know Tim Cave? He's in Pandora's Box. They were in a band together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tim Cave plays. He's left-handed, but he plays the right-handed guitar because his dad said he wasn't going to buy him one.
He wasn't going to get him a lefty.
He said, "You're playing it wrong, son."
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting. I wonder what the ratio of manufactured guitars that are right-handed versus the manufactured.
None.
It's probably what, 2%?
Oh, yeah,
Not
it's
even
very
that.
low.
Yeah.
I think I got a left-handed guitar for this dude that's a fucking cockroach, but I got a left-handed PRS for him. I think I set that up for him.
And
We're not talking about Mechanic Boy, are we?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even start this, and I'm already
Talking about it.
ripping on somebody.
Well, you guys go back a couple of decades, right? So
Yeah.
94?
No.
90.
89.
Yeah.
88, 89.
Yeah, 89.
Yeah.
Wow. And how was that? I mean, you didn't know each other in high school,
No.
Nah.
so it must have been just after high school, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty close, yeah.
For me, 6 months. You're a year ahead of me,
year
right?
ahead of you, yeah. Yeah, I was in a rehearsal room off Monroe Drive. What was that place?
Seriously Sound.
No, it wasn't that. It was before that. It was before Seriously Sound.
Was it SR or something?
No, it was something really weird.
It was
just-
Dave Law's place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was in a band there, first band I was ever in Atlanta, like that actually played concerts. And we're in the room, and I hear a band playing a few doors down, and I'm like, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
What we're doing in here doesn't sound very good, but that sounds really good.
Yeah.
I'm like, come
And
on.
then I come
Whatever.
out of the room, and Nathan's, little Nathan, running around,
Bouncing.
same way that he does now, and
Yeah.
no difference at
Bouncing
all.
around.
And I saw them, and I was like, yep, they look cooler too.
Yeah.
So you can add that to the mix. So better songs, better looking, and more talented. And they had never played a show yet, I don't think.
Oh, wow.
And the first
Favorite
show
Dirty
they ever
Blondes.
played was at Masquerade
Yeah.
when it was called Excelsior Mill.
Excelsior Mill.
And I remember they played there, and I didn't go, but I remember there were people that I knew that went to go see them, and the first show, the buzz started to happen. It was called the Dirty Blondes then, but the first show they did, the buzz started to happen. This is like starting it off right with the most epic story, the one that I go to therapy for still
Oh my
to
God!
this
Still,
day.
he still tells us.
It's the real deal, man. It
kills
affected
me.
me and changed my course of how to handle being in a band and how to handle being on tour and playing with other bands. Because it didn't take long. It was like the third or fourth show, and they had only played maybe 2 shows, and then they're going to headline Avondale Town Cinema.
Yeah.
And we get the gig opening up for them.
Nice.
And, I'm like thinking, I'm going to do whatever I can to hang.
Right.
Jeez.
I was like, I can hang with these dudes.
He was that good
Right?
back then.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I had delusions of grandeur. I thought that we could hang with them.
Right.
And it was like, I had nothing to put it up against. I had never seen them before live.
Right.
And we went up and played, and everybody was sitting down, and we
When you guys played.
Didn't know any different.
Right.
They weren't up yet,
Right.
And we played the show. There was like, rest his soul, the singer of the band was like to me, I absolutely a hero to me because he was the first and only one that gave me like a chance,
Right.
you know. And the band was on the end. Like he had been, his name was Scott Fairchild, and the name of the band was Fairchild. And of course, we got the jokes of Morgan Fairchild.
Right.
But he was the first one to give me a shot.
And well known in the city, by the way.
Yeah, he was
well
like
known,
the
very
first.
well
He was the
Yeah.
first person to do original music in venues in Atlanta.
Right.
Like everybody that played out played covers, and he ended that.
Right.
But it was the tail end of his run, and it was almost like it wasn't a stylistic change. I mean, the players we had were not that great, but it was just like the scene started to grow.
Right.
The Pandas of the world and the
it was
Dirty
so awesome.
Blondes
God, it
and
was so awesome.
the band started to happen.
Right.
And it just kind of passed up Fairchild like they were being lapped.
Right.
And so I was part of the lapped band. And I remember doing interviews where when he has passed away, and he was a wonderful human being.
Yeah,
but
it was.
I just remember I was saying things, you don't, when you're young and dumb, you just don't think about what you're saying. Like he gave me my first shot, and I would say in these interviews, I was in the worst band in Atlanta that everybody laughed at and all this stuff. And it was like super disrespectful to a guy that was his legacy,
Sure. Yeah.
He gave me my first shot, and he was an artist in every sense of the word, like painting, writing, writing books. Like he was
Soft-spoken Todd too.
great dude.
Yeah.
So I never meant any disrespect. It was more of just that was my stepping stone in.
Right. You had to learn.
So back to the story is, I'm with the lapped band.
Yeah.
And I play my show, and we get done, and I'm like, that was not the worst.
Yeah.
And
It's like that didn't
the
suck.
dressing room was super weird because you would it was a movie theater, an old movie theater, and you would literally walk from the back
to the,
to the stage down the side ramp. Like if you were going to a movie and your seats were in the front row,
there was no backstage.
The backstage was where the movie would be played.
Right.
Yeah.
So that little room back there, they made it into a dressing room. So you would walk back through the crowd on the side, to go back to the dressing room.
And kind of behind everything.
Yeah.
So we think, had a pretty good show there.
Yeah.
And go back in the dressing room, and they're in the dressing room. And I'm looking at them, and I'm realizing right away, I'm like, we're going to take a beat.
Yeah, they're going to kill us.
This isn't going to be good. And I don't even know anything about them.
Right.
Other
Except
than
for
I've
hearing them
heard
in
some
rehearsal.
songs through the door.
Yeah.
And
through the door.
they went up, like this.
Yeah.
And they went up, and I'm watching it through where the movie projector would be. I'm watching it. I'm in the back of the crowd, and it's sold out, and they're not sitting anymore.
Right.
Like right away, they're up.
Right.
And I believe they were chanting Dirty Blondes before they went on.
Now,
And they just went up and just leveled the place.
yeah, and this was like your second show?
This is like third or fourth show.
fourth.
How did the buzz happen to these? Did they knew your stuff or knew about you guys? How did that happen?
We had a manager, and he was all about larger than life and making yourself.
Yeah.
And he'd always throw us into every pool you could think of to always be relevant, in the scene that was coming up. When that first show he's talking about, Excelsior Mill, he had another band called The Chapter. Remember them?
Yeah.
They were kind of like the Cure kind of type band, REM-ish kind of thing. And that's the band we opened up for at Excelsior Mill, which was like
so crazy.
It was strange because they were definitely the people that came to see them.
Yeah.
Was more than the people that came to see us. It was just friends of our management, and he called everybody, come on out, show your face, blah, blah, blah. He probably slid them money to show up. And, and then it kind of snowballed from there. But we were always, he had a lot to do with it, I think. I don't think we would have ever stuck out
Danny.
Yeah, we would have never stuck out like that if it wasn't for him.
I mean, I
money.
thought it was big before it ever got started.
Right.
The flyers were different.
Right.
The photo shoot that they did that they put on the flyers was different. Like everything was like they're bigger than everybody else.
Right.
Before I ever saw them. Like I said, I thought they were huge before I ever saw them.
That's how you
All I
do
did
it.
was hear about it from
And
people.
I actually have that flyer at my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
wild.
it's Avondale, the one he's talking
That
about.
particular
With Fairchild
one.
and Smart Ass.
So we were like sitting in the dressing room and they hit the stage, through the chanting. And they play the show and I'm just watching it, like just bleeding out.
Yeah.
Like
and learning.
I mean, learning that I never want to do this again, ever. I'm just watching it and I'm actually sitting with Scott. And we had two other guys in the band at the time, and he was sitting there and he was like, we had a good show. And I'm like, we're getting murdered right in front of your eyes. If you would stop talking, you would realize that there's a homicide happening.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm watching it.
Yeah.
And I'm affected by it.
Yeah.
Like I might not jam
I might not
anymore.
make it. I may not make it.
Yeah, like I might be pulled into this guy's collateral damage. And so he starts watching it and he realizes real quick, I said, these two guys got to go.
Like
These two guys in our band, it was a 4-piece. And I'm like, those two guys, they don't fit at all.
They got it.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at that and I'm going, dirty blondes. Everybody got the blonde hair.
Yeah.
Everybody's got the long hair. Everybody's got the
Gotta
perfect
look.
clothes.
Gotta
Everything fits in where it's supposed to,
Right.
And I'm looking at it going, we got nothing
Right.
going on.
Right.
I got the biggest hair in the world, whooped as far as I can to the right. He's got, good hair.
Yeah.
No,
And then
he had cool hair.
Yeah.
Morgan and him, they both had cool hair. It was just black. It was, black. It was awesome.
The other two guys didn't have that, and I don't want to fall back into the thing where those two guys see this and they're like, no, he's dogging me. It was no offense to them.
Yeah, you were
it
young.
Was just that we were young and we didn't pay attention to that.
Sure.
And it was obvious it was a major overlook.
Well, I mean, that's
looks and a PA are a must.
Yeah.
It's like all the ads that would go out. Looks a must.
Yeah.
It's like
PA's a must.
Yeah. So I wasn't. I always had like a super insecure feeling. I do not consider myself, a very good looking or attractive man in any way. I'm not like I'm Mr. GQ by any means, but you can get away with it back then with a little hairspray and that shit.
Yeah.
And
He can lopside things so easily. It's like, it kills me. I'm like,
the reality of it is
it's
that
like,
we were
no,
taking
it's
a
not-
beating.
Yeah.
And I watched it. And there was nobody that could tell me different. And it was a fact.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that are in prison for it. It was a homicide on the spot. And so that changed the course of everything. I mean, it got really bad. Like they got done. And I, to this day, remember things that happened after it happened, where they went back across the side of the, walkway up into the thing. And I can swear on this.
You can, anything you want.
Because it was a quote, and Tony, the bass player, is sitting there.
Tony Langham?
Tony Langham.
I know Tony.
Yeah.
And Tony's sitting there.
He's the original
And
bass player.
I don't know if it was Nathan or if it could have been Dennis or Steve. I don't know who it was, but somebody said, I think Tony said, do you think they want to hear Skin Tight? And one of them said, fuck yeah, they want to hear Skin Tight. And I was just like, God almighty, man, it's never going to stop, dude. Like, they're just going to keep on. Like, the man is dead. Leave him alone. And they
Not
just
breathing.
stroll right back down. And the crowd is going bananas. And just keep in mind, rewind the tape about an hour and 20 minutes ago. And they're sitting there watching us like this. And we ended the show with, like, rock and roll.
Right.
And Scott would do this little thing at the end where, lonely, 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 lonely. And they would wait.
Yeah.
And they lonely, 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 lonely. And he would do it and wait more. And, kind of soloing out a little bit before he go time. And then big drum solo, right?
Yeah.
Well, way before the drum
Killer
thing happened, it would be like lonely, lonely, lonely. He did it enough times to where The only response we got from the crowd that night was people that started saying, "Say it, say it," and then it was like they started all doing it, like, "Just say it, Jesus, say it," and I'm like, "God, say it already," you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Get me out of here, dude."
Yeah.
You know, so it was just like, you know, this monumental beating.
Well, you needed that. You know,
I don't know
Nobody
if I
needs
needed it
that.
that bad. You
It's
know,
not
I
that
mean,
bad.
it
It
was
wasn't that bad.
really,
We weren't that
it
good.
was very bad.
as a young band, if you don't get your ass whooped,
It was early.
you're not going to grow.
I took it early. I took a beating early,
That's-
and it changed the course of how I treated
Yeah.
the concerts
Yeah.
from then on. From then, especially when Sevendust started. When I
Right.
put Sevendust together, it was all about, I'm putting a band together that is lethal.
Yeah.
I just want to hurt all the bands.
Yeah.
I want everybody to want to hear fucking Skin Tight.
Right.
Everybody's going down.
Right.
There would be discussions of us starting where it would be like, you know, we're opening for bands and they would purposely stick us all the way up to the front. And I was very respectful about that. We hadn't learned to not be up front.
Sure.
Bands that complain about it, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Right.
get bigger.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know,
Earn-
like
earn
you're
your
in the
way.
front because you're in the
got
front.
their turn. Yeah.
Yeah, man, earn it and get back there.
Right.
You know, like, and most of it has not much to do with the band. It's time and crew, and you don't have one, and they got to get stuff moving
Right.
because
Sure.
they
Can
don't
we
want to
use
go
your
on
kit,
at
you
midnight.
know?
Yeah.
You know, so I remember a night in particular where it started, where they had, you know, all the crew guys, they had lights, they had all the stage room,
Yeah.
and we were sitting in the back, and nobody was sulking.
Yeah.
Nobody was sulking at all. We were happy to be there.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there, and I went,
This is
I was
Sevendust,
like,
right?
Yep. And I'm like, crack 'em. This is first record early.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, everybody looks at me. I'm like, they got all the lights. They got all the crew guys to make sure everything works perfect. They got all the stage room.
And the rest of the PA.
They got everything.
Yeah.
They got PA noise. They got everything. I said, nothing's going to save them from the next 35 minutes.
Right.
Nothing's going to save them. And you could just see the teeth
Yes.
clench.
Yes.
And that was like,
Yeah.
that was the beginning of eliminating bands from the earth.
Yeah.
Like we retired bands.
I love that.
That's the point.
I love that.
I mean, back in the day when there was a scene like that where, you know, bands play together with each other now, and you know, there are still some venues that do original music, but it was always a silent competition.
Oh, for
You know,
sure.
you're
Eat or be eaten,
Yeah,
man.
you're huddled up in the
Yeah.
in the back with your guys saying
question.
exactly something like that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, they got everything, but they
Just
don't
gotta-
have this set. Let's
Yeah.
go. You know.
Yeah. I
It's like-
mean, there was no Slipknot back then. There
Right.
was no bands like that.
Right.
You know, like we were before all that.
Right.
Once those guys came around, it was like, okay, well, I'm glad we got all those wins out of the way because we're going to take a few licks now.
Right. Right.
And then they just started funneling them out, you know, to where it was like everybody was, you know,
Right.
and ready to go.
Right.
So we had our moment of bullying people
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
And I will say that the one thing I've always loved about them was, and it's not because I know everybody in the band, and
Right.
we all grew up together, Vinny and me and him especially, and
Yeah.
Clint, you know, and all these people. It's like the one thing about them was they had a sense of groove that I've always. It's just different. It's
Right.
not like, you know what I mean? Like even back in my era, the BLONZ era crap, it's like there's the bands that they all, okay, but I don't want to mention names, blah, blah, blah. They all sound this, they kind of got that white boy cheesy metal,
Yeah.
just nothing's really appealing about it. And then there's a handful of those bands, it's like, that's a little more melodic and soulful
Yeah.
and smooth, and it's got some feel to it and some element in the lyrics. And, you know, and Sevendust like that they were like that for me. I mean,
Yeah.
no offense to all the, you know, the Corey Taylors and all that in the world, but a lot of that, you got to look, you know, if you turn off the video, and you
Right.
look at the audio, it's not really that much. There's nothing greater in my point. But when you pull the video up, then you go, there's that money.
Yeah.
There's the
Yeah.
flair and the show, you know, the package part of it that they added to it, you know, and these guys ran on just the merit of their music, and it's freaking awesome.
And you guys were pretty damn early in that style of.
Oh, for sure.
You know
Yeah.
what? it's metal, but it's soul metal.
Yeah, well, it's
with
so it's
Lejean,
just got
it's like,
freaking. Well, it's not even Lejean too. It's just the groove that they.
Well, this guy, the
Well,
heartbeat.
yeah, and John too. John and Corey and Vinny. It's like it's just a groove thing. But definitely Morgan has that ear for that. And don't let him freaking play it down about that Fairchild shit. We used to sit back there and go and watch him the same way. He doesn't realize if it was the same way.
Sure.
And I'm just, no offense to anybody else, but it was him. You just watch him and go, is anybody seeing this?
Right.
I'm like, am I alone here? Like, are you missing what's happening right there? You know, like this guy's fucking like owning it, man. He's wearing the jacket, dude.
Well,
it belongs to him.
It was those years of therapy that that he had to go to. Now, when you were doing that set at Avondale with the BLONZ, were you guys, when they were on stage, in the corner going, all right, no quarter?
Oh, were we?
Yeah, I mean,
they knew.
We just, in general, it didn't,
easy work.
even though some of our closest friends, like me and Morgan, were super tight, always have been, it wasn't even, it didn't look at it that way. We just looked at it as like, okay, they're good, but
let's go.
But we see ourselves different. You know, like we're not even, awesome, but stay over there. I mean, you have to walk in with that attitude. Like he said, like the 35, you're lucky we only got 35 minutes, bro, because we're about to ruin your ass.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I mean, they picked off a bunch of the bands like us. Like it was like a boxing career. Yeah. Where it was like they picked off all the bands like that. And there were a few bands that were either their level or bigger than them. Right. One in particular was Panda.
Yeah.
And Panda was like the band that went to LA. Right. And then lived out there. And then they came back and they brought back the Poison. They brought back the You're Gonna Pay to Play. They were the ones that started that disaster.
Yeah.
Oh, so they were gonna charge you.
Well, you had to buy. You had to pay them for tickets, and then you'd go sell the tickets. Yeah, it's a great idea because it's like, give me all your money. Yeah. And then you are going to hustle those tickets because you want to make your money back. Right. And we gave you enough tickets to where if you sell more than what you gave us, we'll actually make some profit.
It's a drug deal.
Yeah. It's a drug deal.
It's a drug deal, basically.
They cut up the tickets and then
chop it all up, put it in a bag.
They gave you the tickets, you cut them up, and then you make a little more money.
Right.
Yeah. So they came back and they were very polished. Yeah. Like they had already gone to LA and went, they're all here. Right. In Atlanta, it was like there was not even a handful, like a few. And so they had picked off all the bands that were easy. Right. And I was like, what's going to happen when those guys run up? Because they're going to have to run up at some point.
Sure. Yeah.
And then they took them out.
Wow.
And I was like, oh.
And again,
what year was that approximately?
89, 90.
Okay, so beginning of the 90s.
And then again, Panda in the same breath. Like, the dummy cabinets and the
they
big,
were stacked,
and Kenny was way over the top drummer, badass drummer.
Way over the top.
Kenny Cresswell,
he's
awesome
my
drummer.
idol to this day.
He's
Kenny Cresswell,
absolutely
great drummer.
To this day.
And where's he at now?
He's here. Yeah, he's here.
Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Moonshine Backline and Avatar studio stuff. He's big production company.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So he changed gears and got into production rentals and stuff like that.
He actually that was the Black Crows that
Johnny Colton started that deal.
When they came off their first tour, that first big tour the Crows did, like all that gear and the semis and all that, they just gave it to him. Now, he was living in RTM.
Oh, man.
Yeah, rehearsed too much.
Yeah, he was living in RTM. He was living there. He had a deal with the owner that he was basically the custodian there. Yeah. And he got to live there for free.
Wow. Mike did.
And so did Kenny. And that's when the Crows, he went out on the road with them on that first tour. And then when he came back, all that gear. And he started a backline company.
Yeah, it's huge now.
And now it's huge.
It's awesome.
Yeah, him and Dave Lowe were like the two big hitters in Atlanta. Music Matters and then Moonshine.
Yeah, Music Matters. That was just there actually.
That's Dave.
Last weekend.
I'm building a table for him right now.
Really?
Yeah, I love that man. He's awesome.
Dude, the gear. They took me to the back.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, the gear racks and racks and racks and everything's the big LED wall now,
Right.
and it's like, wow.
Now, to tell you that, to go back again where he was talking about that rehearsal space he's talking about, that was Dave Lowell's place.
It was
where we
real
were.
small.
Yeah, it was tiny. And he had, you're talking about warehouses, he had like a chain link fence. You walked in, remember, and it was like 8 rooms, I think, 7, 8 rooms.
Yeah.
And
Because Nihilist was there too.
Nihilist,
There was a
Vagrant
dead
Justice.
body in the trash there.
Yes, remember that?
And
Yes.
and Britt and Rich went and took pictures of
Yeah, I know. It
dead
was
body
like-
over there. man.
Everybody was there. We were all there. I mean, because listen, back then, your rehearsal room that's where you were, man.
Yeah, and you lived there, right?
Oh, we
I mean,
were
it
there
was,
all the time.
Yeah.
Johnny's Pizza and down
When you
the
got
street.
to RTM, that was like you graduated.
You graduated.
Yeah.
Because that place was kind of its little
Pentagon.
boutique place, you
Yeah.
know. And then you got to RTM, and
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, RTM was there for a long time. That was
Yep.
the one that's right next to where Sweetwater Brewery is.
Yeah,
right. What,
exactly.
what road was that again?
Monroe.
Monroe.
Yeah.
And that place was there, and there was another place down on Krog Street. Do you ever rehearse at the one down on Krog, downtown Atlanta?
Yeah, it's a red building.
Black
isn't it?
Box?
It was a big building with a bunch of rehearsal rooms.
That's where
Is that Black Box?
Black Box.
It might have been Black Box.
Yes, Mastodon and all them.
Yeah,
rehearsal-
Black Box.
Black
yeah,
Box,
I went there like once or twice.
I
That
went
was
there
like
too.
where the cool people went.
Yeah, it was real.
artsier
It was
people.
real artsy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was dangerous as hell. I was
Yeah.
terrified to be
Me
there.
too. Me
It's
too.
dangerous.
I was only there once or twice. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
It was dangerous.
Yeah.
No, but yeah. So that place, Lowell had a storage equipment with all of his equipment over there, and it was not big at all.
Yeah.
And that's where we recorded our demo that had Rainbow and One and Only and Skin Tight on it. That got us our deal ultimately. We did it in that little space.
And that's when you turned to the Blondes, not the Dirty Blondes.
Yeah. So there was a band of all labels, Shark Island Records,
And they had dirty.
and they
Blondes.
didn't want to sell the name to us. And we're like, you guys are, no offense, but what are y'all doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, the legalities.
and then
That
it was
started a
real
whole
quick-
nother thing.
Yeah.
When they did that, like when they changed the name, that was yet another thing to publicize, you know. And then they started replacing members,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
and it was like Panda was, you know, one of the bigger bands in the town, and they took Fandino.
Yeah,
from
Oh,
band
so
Panda.
you kind of merged.
Well, they were kind of like Jack, the guitar player, was like, I think he was kind of like, because they had been, I think they were a little jaded at that point. They had
Oh, yeah.
so many brushes with
Yeah.
the opportunity that it
Yeah.
just didn't happen. And then,
Yep.
I mean, I think somebody had said even Ted Templeton had been talking to them or some crap.
There was a lot of talk about how
Yeah.
they had deal offers.
Right.
Right.
I could never go on the record and say I knew anything. I know that I've been told, but
Right.
I've been told by one guy.
Scuttlebutt.
Well, I can
Yeah.
It's
tell
all
you,
scuttlebutt.
I can
Yeah.
tell you that, you know, it was definitely down to one particular person in that organization. It probably made it difficult for them to get a deal
Yeah.
because he's he's that guy.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So they were kind of like not really just. It was kind of starting to. I mean, it had this really strong thing for about a year, and then it kind of just started fizzling, you know. And
Yeah.
then so
When they started,
I stole Michael.
They looked older. That
Oh.
was the thing, is when
Yeah.
they started, they made Panda look
old.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It was like, you've been here for a while. You
Yeah.
haven't gotten a deal yet. These guys are coming. They're just as good as you, and they're younger.
right.
We had a hairdresser,
So we're in on them
Jill
now.
and Toe.
And so they stole Fandino.
Yeah.
And that was like, oh, damn. They got like, because Fandino was like the coolest bass player.
He
Right.
was.
So Tony got replaced by
Right.
Fandino.
And
And then Mike got replaced.
by a guy I went to high school with.
And when that happened, it was like, back then it was like nobody had tattoos.
Right.
Nobody had any of this stuff. He had a sleeve.
Aaron did, yeah. I tell you.
Aaron had
Wow.
a sleeve of tattoos. So immediately it was like, ooh.
and real
Yeah.
good looking. He
Yeah.
fit
You know,
the program, you know.
It was like real good looking dude with the tattoos coming in. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, he had a huge stage presence, you know, a lot
Yeah.
of spinning and, you know, hair for days,
Yeah.
you know, and back then it was all part of the deal,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and
It
it was
still
like, oh,
is.
they just went in and took over Like, we just filled these the same way that I had gone up that night and said, these two guys need to go.
Yeah.
They were like, you know what, we're about to happen, and we're going to replace any dead weight.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that, honestly, I looked at it at the time and I'm like, that's cold, dude.
Yeah.
But the reality was, we haven't gotten to a place where if you eliminate a band member, nowadays you can change the whole band, nobody cares.
Right.
Back then,
Yeah.
you lose one and it's like Achilles heel.
Yeah, you
Done.
would think that would have been the problem.
Yeah.
So they did it before they became nationwide.
Right.
So you can do that in your little hometown.
Yeah,
Nobody knows any different.
Right.
They filled the band with those guys, and I'm like, oh, now they're just a full arsenal.
Yeah.
Now it's all
Did it
there.
step up the notch?
Oh,
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
And then they went to a dude to produce their songs, and he fucked the songs up.
Yeah,
That happens.
it does.
Changed them.
Yeah.
It did change them. Like
No,
this.
what style of music are we talking about? Was it?
This was- it was hair metal.
Okay, we're coming out of the '80s, so we still have some hair metal stuff going on
For sure.
And
And BLONZ was that was a
It was more Tesla than it was hair metal.
exactly. It was not white. Like I said, I hate to classify, but it's just that uppity, stiff, nothing.
yeah,
And it didn't have any like depth to it or anything. And everything we were writing, and I have to admit, me and Stephen Dennis, the two guitar players, and me, at that point in time in our lives, I was like on fire, just trying to, like he's talked about before, just, man, who do I have to kill
right.
to get this? Because
Yeah.
I know where I'm at, and I know what I'm trying to do, and
Right.
I know I'm 18 and I'm 19 or whatever, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. I know what's going on inside my head here, and we were a pretty heavy duty trio, me and Stephen Dennis,
Yeah.
writing wise,
Yeah.
and we chameleon. We could, man, what do you want? We can spit it out, not a problem, because we had these three different entities of format and
Yeah.
thinking, and so us together was cool. And sometimes it would lopside to Dennis, and you'd get that Don Henley Eagles kind of freaking thing.
Yeah, Southern kind of
Yeah,
thing,
and you'd
too.
lop over to Steve, and you'd get more of that edgier priest kind of, whatever. And then I could play along with
Either one
of them,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it was a really good timing for us.
Yeah.
But he's right, and then we just go in to the studio with these
That's
great
producing.
songs, and we made some poor decisions too. Well, we didn't, our management didn't. I don't, they still carry the blow for that. It's like, it's
Yeah.
not your fault. It's nobody's fault, it just happened the way it happened. But the production was,
Yeah.
and we should have thought about that at that time. But again,
Yeah.
It was,
we
I
didn't
could
know,
tell when it
kids.
happened, when they picked the guys that they picked to do the record,
Right.
I was like, that's lofty.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's a different
Wasn't a
thing
good choice.
because that doesn't match.
he's
So,
right.
and I knew when it was happening before I ever heard anything. I'm like, I'm super interested to hear how this sounds because you're basically bringing Kansas
Right.
into
Just
this
rock band.
world.
Wow.
And I knew the talent was there. I mean, those dudes, are great and incredibly talented, but
Yeah.
the match was just strange for
The
me.
label is what did it too. The first thing was with Atlantic and Jason Flom, who Danny knew really well. And
You see, 'cause, you said Danny. Is that Hamilton?
Yeah.
Okay, Danny Hamilton.
Danny and Christy, and they knew Jason very, very well because of Shebang, the band that was before them.
Oh my God.
And they
Shebang.
and Steve
What a-
and Dennis were in Shebang with Peter Stroud and
Okay,
all
yeah.
those
Oh my
people.
God.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Memory
realize,
lane.
I didn't realize
And
Memory
so
Stroud was in there.
Jason was going to sign Shebang, and then I'm say it, I don't care. Jason was going to sign them, and then at last minute, kind of just said, "Guys, there's this other band that I'm gonna sign instead, and you guys just keep playing. It's not that I don't like you, it's just not the right time for y'all right now or whatever." And he was right, it wasn't. It was more like Wings.
Yeah.
Shebang was like a Wings type band, which I love, but
Right.
and he signed Twisted Sister instead.
Oh, wow.
So when he did that, the singer for Shebang, Brent Daniels or whatever, flipped his lid, dude, and like even went so far as to like go up to New York and like in his Flom's
wow.
face or whatever. You're talking about like this guy was like climbing the ladder at A&R at Atlantic,
Right.
and had a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So after that, and then comes along, he signed Skid Row and Cinderella and these other bands through John Bon Jovi. And that's John, through us, John Bon Jovi is the one that called Flom and said, you know, you need to sign Danny's band. These guys are good. With the demo that we made from at Lowell's place, and Ed Hopkins mixed it or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he did that, and Jason said, okay, I like what I hear. You know, so he told him, he said, what shebang, he told him, he said, Danny, you put another band together. If I like what I hear, okay. And we just happened to be the right band for that kind of thing.
Right.
That's when Dennis and Steve, when they had left, Peter went off. I think he ended up playing started with Stevie Nicks or something, and then went from there to Don Henley, and now he's with Sheryl Crow.
Yeah, Sheryl Crow, right.
So
for years.
Yeah. So they put it was Steve and Dennis and me that started the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, long story short of it, they wanted us. Atlantic Flom says, I'm going to sign you. I'm going to give you the same deals, same setup, Skids or whatever, like Bob Rock or Mutt Lange. Somebody, one of these producers.
Right.
We were like, who? What? Huh?
Yeah.
That would have been
What
the
you
way
needed.
we should have gone.
Right.
And he even told Danny, he said, listen, man, they're going to come at you as soon as they see that I've signed another band. Every label, or that I'm interested, every label is going to come out of the woodwork. And they did. They came from everywhere. It was crazy. And then, you know, Lenny Pizzi steps in. And it's like, when that happened, you're like, okay, who's going to turn that down? You know, like Cheap Trick and Alice Cooper.
Right.
All these major bands that he's Boston, you know, it's like insane. So we went with them. A lot more money.
Yeah.
And the deal was because the guys, you know, from Kansas, they were the ones that kind of like stepped in, and so we're going to do this, we're going to make it. And, you know, to his point, it was like the songs that should have been the real
Miracles
good ones,
was the biggest one.
Miracles was the biggest one, and the songs that they should have been that sound that you were looking for were not.
Right.
And then the songs that should have been like what a Kansas thing were great.
Right. Yeah.
Like Hands of Love, the Joe Lynn Turner tune.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Super. I mean, I still listen to that song and go,
Dang.
that's still like a great
freaking.
It's a great recording, not just a great song, but it's a really good tracks. And Miracles, we actually, when Demon Doll Records,
I heard the demo of Miracles, and I was like, that sets it apart.
Right.
And then it went to the record, and I'm
and
like,
who produced
now
the demo?
It's the same.
That was Brendan. Well, we did.
Brendan O'Brien did
Brendan
the one
O'Brien,
I heard.
did. But see, the funny thing is I didn't know if you knew this or not, Morgan, but Demon Doll Records like redid the record. They got it and they reissued it, so it's out now again. You can still get it, but they used Brendan's mixes,
Right.
Yeah.
on some of them. And they also we had a song called No Way Out. It's like Bright Lights, Big City. It's a tune that Lenny wanted to say for the second record.
Right.
That never happened.
Right.
As a release for the second record. And it's got the Hands of Love type feel to it.
Right.
And it's a great song. So now you can hear that too. But yeah, if you want to hear the chunkier, heavier.
There was something about the
Brendan.
dynamics of the original that was just better.
Just the one.
Yeah, I thought that. I mean, I knew
It's more
right away. I
guitar
was
oriented.
like, this is so polished in a different way. It's polished in a style that doesn't match what they're going for.
Right.
I mean,
well,
I've been there.
Yeah,
I've had
producers.
I've had people mix our records, and I'm like, that shit don't sound good.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
You know?
and will you say
And
it?
then
to
it,
them?
and it's too late, and it's done. And we have records that we've released, and I'm like, I don't like the way that record sounds
Right.
at
Yeah,
all.
and you can't unring the bell. I mean, back then we were like, "Hey, it's these guys." And,
Right.
You know, Alice Cooper's standing in the room. He's going, "It sounds great." So what do you say? You
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And again, by the time the record was done and being put out, I was like 19 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Lightning struck though. You got the opportunity and the chance to go down the road.
And you know, it's like I don't want to be the person, you know, when they say they got, you know, I'm glad this happened to me. It's made me look at life better, you know, that kind of thing. Like something really bad, you know, like I've had some people go say, I'm glad I got cancer. It really showed me things in life that I didn't.
I'm good without that.
You know what I'm saying?
The only time you say that is when you actually do get cancer, and you have to look at the bright side of things.
Right, but you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's like, in all actuality, I'm kind of glad that it didn't go over the top, because then I'd be up on them cruises right now, boy. Going,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've been on them, you know, with Resist, and it's like,
Yeah. Well, producers, how many different producers have you guys used throughout your career?
I mean,
How many records are there
oh
now?
God, I don't know. I honestly
14.
don't. I think
14,
there's
13, 14?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
14.
14.
So
I'm a fan.
Yeah, you
it
are a fan.
started with it started with JJ.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, we didn't know a thing
Pause.
about anything.
Right.
Pause.
You know, yeah.
Pause.
I mean, we didn't know anything. I mean, producer is, what does a producer do? You know,
Right.
never done a record.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a great band.
Yeah.
I will say this, to this day, I didn't want Black on the record. I didn't want that on the record at all. And I think that everybody agreed with me, you know. So he was like, that's your Back in Black. And I'm
Right.
like, you're fucking clueless.
Right.
And then he said, we need an intro to this song,
Right.
something. And, you know, he suggested something. I can't remember if it was actually using the tremolo or not, but he suggested an intro.
Right.
And so Clint ended up, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And that ended up being what made the band.
Wow.
So without that move of him beating into me that this
Right.
was going to be a big song,
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever even do anything, you know?
Right.
So
Oh, yeah,
as a
it does.
producer, he was responsible for that.
Yeah. Wow.
When it came to how we were getting ready to track the record, there was shit done that needed major therapy afterwards.
Right.
Like that we had no fucking clue was normal because
Right.
it wasn't.
Right.
It was ridiculous and borderline abusive. And that was, you know, we'd never played to a click before.
Okay.
So
You never played to a click before?
we'd never played to one. So
Well, don't say we, man. Don't church it up. It's you.
nobody in the band had ever played to one. Ever.
Well, this is the first
I didn't
record.
know that.
right?
Yeah, first record. So this is
That makes sense.
96.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
So anyway, they're like threatening us.
Right.
That if you can't do it, we'll get somebody else to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
So the first thing they did was we didn't practice to one.
Right.
They would start a timer. And we would play the song, you know, to, you know, click it off. And our pre-production was we would play the song live to a stopwatch. And then at the end of it, you know, it'd be like 3 minutes and 28 seconds. Let's do it again. And we do it and it goes 3:29, you know, 3:26, you know, and it was like, you know, we're like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
What
What,
is
what
that
are you
mean? Is that
looking for?
bad?
Yeah.
That
What are you
sounds
looking for?
pretty
Smaller or
ridiculously
live?
good.
Popcorn?
You know?
What's up here?
So we have no idea what we're doing, and no disrespect, but neither did they.
Right.
So then it comes time to like track,
Mhm.
and so I'm playing to a click now, and the first record I hate because just the way the drums are, I'm playing the drums to a click where all I'm really doing is listening to the click.
Right.
So everything is, you know,
Mechanical.
play,
Mechanical.
play to that click. Don't
Yeah.
go in front of it.
If it
Don't
comes
go
back.
behind it. Just,
Yeah.
just play right on it. You know.
Not even listening to the
And,
song.
Yeah.
You know, don't even listen to the song. Just play to the click.
Yeah.
You know. So to me, it was super stale. Then I got to vocals. Vocals, I literally was in the vocal booth holding Lejean's chin at the microphone like this because Lejean would sing, you know,
Move around.
and move around.
Right.
And it'd be like, we can't use this. He's coming off the mic. You know, what are we gonna do? Like, I don't know what to tell you. He's coming off the. And I'm like, I don't know that. I'm like, well, maybe they're like, somebody hold his chin.
Oh, geez.
And I'm in the room. This guy's singing the words,
That's awesome.
singing the record, and I'm holding his chin. If he would bring it back, I would like move his head forward. It was fucking ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we went through that once.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we go to the second record and we have Toby Wright. Toby Wright had just done a Korn record.
Wow.
And he had been involved in doing the a Metallica record.
Right.
I don't remember which one it was at that point, but so we're like, we'll take him.
Right.
We want to sound like Korn.
Right.
So he had a whole different way of doing things. His thing was mental. Like, I hated the sound of that record. That record sucks. That record sounds worse than the first one. that I hated.
Right.
You know, so it was terrible. I hated the way it was tracked. I hated everything about it. I hated the experience.
Yeah.
You know, it was basically more abuse.
Right.
It
Yeah.
was
Animosity?
no, this was home.
Home, yeah.
So that was I'm going to figure out everybody's personality and I'm going to get the best out of them. It was genius. He was great at that. He was amazing at it. He would basically go in and be like, Morgan gets better when he gets angry.
Yeah, piss you off.
So
Wow.
he would
It works.
purposely make me angry.
Yeah.
To a point where I'm at Longview Studios, you know, which is a historical place.
Right.
And like I just picked the snare drum up one day and just caved the stage right in, just like with a snare drum, just smashed the snare drum. And
What would he do to get you like angry?
Well, I'm playing to a click, and now I can do it. Now
Right.
I'm cool with it.
Fairchild
And I was
sucks.
super, I'm super tough on myself.
Yeah.
So I would get through a track, and I'm playing by myself, you know,
Yeah.
through memory. There's nobody playing with me.
No scratch,
no
anything?
scratch, no nothing.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
we're going to tape.
Mike Burdett did that.
And so I'm playing the song. I get done with it, you know, and it's back. It's like, don't put the sticks down. None of this.
Right.
None of this.
Right.
You know, just you know, don't. And wait till you hear the click of the tape.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, motherfucker, nailed that shit.
Right.
And he goes, that's the worst take you've done yet. And I said, you motherfucker. You know, I knew it wasn't. I
Right.
knew it wasn't. And I
Right.
said, run it again, you know? And I did it. He said, worse than the one before. And I smashed the snare drum. And then, you know, he realized, okay, I got him where I got him.
I got him where I
Yeah.
need him.
So then the next one
Without
was
costing
good.
any more money.
Take a break. That's a take, whatever it was.
Wow.
Then it would go up to somebody else who was shit in the bed all day, sounded like shit all day long.
Right.
And he'd be like, that was amazing. Give me that a few more times. And I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to? You know, it would happen all day, dude, every day. Because
asshole.
there would be certain people that would be more sensitive. It's
Right,
like if
right,
I
right,
say,
right.
man, that's not good, you know,
Yeah.
it'd be like, you know, then it'd get worse.
Yeah.
So it's like,
they
that was
clean 'em up.
amazing. You're the greatest there ever
Yeah.
was, you know? And I'm looking around the room. I'm like, am I losing my mind, dude? So we
That was
do that.
amazing.
Then we go to Animosity. I'm not going to make this a record by record. We'll be here till tomorrow. But
Right.
just the transition of how my brain was getting what was going on.
Right.
And catching the drift of, you have no fucking clue. You're a therapist.
You're right.
And then I get to Ben Gross.
Yeah.
And I ruined it with Ben Gross because Ben Gross was sonically superb.
Right.
He made us sound great.
Right.
That record to this day sounds great.
Is that one of your favorites?
No question.
Me
Yeah.
too.
And it changed everything.
Sure.
Like we went from sounds really bad, sounds really small to, oh goddamn, this is a monster.
Right.
You know, like it just sounded big.
Right.
But he would go in and I knew very little about him. I knew he had done a Marilyn Manson record and done a Filter record. They both sounded killer.
Right.
So I was like, we're gonna sound like that.
Right.
But when it came to the song part of it, it was like I dealt with one deal, I dealt with another deal, and now I've got a song guy. And what was happening was I didn't realize when we were doing pre-production, we'd play something and he'd go, so Morgan, why don't you like chill out on that verse a little bit?
Right.
And I'm like, okay, you know,
Yeah.
and then play it and you go, a little bit more. I'm like, okay, you know, then it's like next song. I think we really need to like simplify that verse a little bit more. I'm like, all right, dude.
This guy's just slowly knocking me out.
Yeah. Have
So
you
we get to,
ever
like-
heard me play before?
We
Yeah.
get third or fourth song, and I'm like, are you going to fucking talk to anybody else, man? And he was not confrontational.
Right.
Never heard another word from him. He never
Wow.
said a word other than I asked if anybody knew where to get some cocaine one day. And he had barely spoken to me since then. He goes, I got some coke. And I was like, you?
Right.
Like, I never
Yeah,
even
yeah.
knew anything about it. That
I
turned
barely
the
talked.
whole record
Yeah,
upside down.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden it was, you know, whole different rating on
Yeah.
that record.
Slayer.
Yeah.
It was just an R rating
So,
at
so
best.
the guy that was asking you to simplify
Right.
had to blow.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
beauty of it, though, was that he never said another word to me. Then we went back to the start, and he starts talking to Vinny. And I'm like,
He did it to Vinny.
oh, And then he goes back and he starts talking to John. And then he starts talking to Clint. And I'm like, oh, I was just stop
You
one.
were first.
You were just first.
Yeah, you
And
were
I
first.
didn't know that. And I regretted it.
Yeah.
You were
Because
his
I
first
was
love.
thinking he was picking on me,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
when really he probably would have made the record even better. I ruined that moment. But
did you ever apologize or
oh,
talk to
yeah,
him?
for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah,
You know?
about
Cleared the air.
5:30
I was
in the
like,
morning.
I'm
About
sorry
five-
about that shit I did last week.
5:30
You
in the
know,
morning, you know, he
I
apologized.
love you, dude. Can we do the whole record again? You know, something not responsible, but so then, last but not least, you know, then we move on to Butch,
Right.
and
Waka.
we do,
Enemy.
and Butch is just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Kind of
You
the
know.
best mix of both worlds. Great
I
sound,
mean,
great personality.
His song, yeah, I mean, he did all our demos.
And that's a
you know?
guy.
okay.
And that's a guy too that he was in the ditches,
Right.
South Gang and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Jason, Butch, and Slug. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still me and Slug ride.
Yeah.
But Morgan tell you back then, I was Butch and everybody. We were all.
We went to his house. We did all our demos at the house.
Yeah,
I
we've
did
all
that
known
whole
each other forever.
in black with I had a pencil and a ruler because we had moved everything out and we went there and I wanted to do that little
wow. That's what that
on
is?
black.
On a
I did
pencil?
it with a
the
pencil
fuck
and a
outta
ruler
here.
on an octopad.
What?
You know, and his studio at his
Wow.
dad's house. You know?
Man.
So Big Butch is right in the house, and Little Butch is out there tracking Black and Bitch
Wow.
and all that stuff, and we got our deal off those demos. So here we go,
I didn't know
fourth
that
record,
either. Shit.
and he's gonna produce.
Wow.
And we originally wanted Ben Gross again, and the label said no.
Wow.
And we're like,
Did you hear the record, guys?
yeah, they were like, we want hits. So that's when that started. That's when it started and ended. Because
Right.
we went to Butch, very happy with the songs that he did. Like he was just it's a joke.
Well,
I mean,
Enemy
dealing
was
with him is a joke.
insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I went into a room one night and I wrote the chorus to Broken Down. Right? Yeah, Broken Down was on that record. So I was at the house and I was sitting with John and I tracked a scratch vocal to that and we were going to bounce it off the record. That was like my moment of feeling like I'd arrived was Butch coming in and going, do you write that chorus? Because we'd waited on it for days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, dude, it's a hit. Like that's the chorus. And I'm like, really? And he goes, oh yeah, dude.
Man.
Like that's the chorus. I was like, oh damn, I wrote him.
I wrote me a chorus.
And I'm like, let me get a handle on a few of them other choruses. And that started that whole train running downhill.
Yeah.
You know.
It ain't downhill. You're a great songwriter.
The best ones come
He's
out that
dude.
easy,
He's
though,
like
right?
he's like the shittiest, worst critic of himself. Like he beats himself up all the fucking time. I'm talking pick a subject.
Yeah. Well, that's what you got
I
to do
could
to be
do
awesome.
better. No, it's what makes you great. Yeah,
It is.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Here.
he's still not. He's
Do
still
that again.
Really not
Do that again.
He's still getting there. He's getting there. Soon.
I don't know how to play the drums.
Yeah, right.
Oh, dude, I got a video of Anywhere, that one that we did out in Illinois. And it's so funny because he's also he can dish it out too, because he'll look you right in the face and go, "That sucks. Give me something else."
Yeah.
In like 5 minutes.
You talking about him?
Yeah,
Yeah,
5
I can
minutes,
tell.
you got to spit something out. If he
Yeah.
doesn't like it,
Yeah.
that was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Don't ever repeat that again. Just whatever
Yeah.
you just said, don't say that anymore because, I like you right now.
Well,
No, not that bad.
you have to.
Yes, you are.
You
He's
have to
that
have
funny
a thick
Yeah,
coat,
Well,
not skin. You
well,
gotta have
you
a
know-
thick coat to be in a band.
well, true. And
Yeah,
well, you gotta have-
nowadays it's got to be
you have
like
to have a thick coat to be
Astronauts,
successful.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you got to be able to take it in the chin and go, listen, that wasn't a personal thing. That's,
Yeah.
do you want to be embarrassed or do you want me to prevent you from being embarrassed?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm the guy that'll walk up and I'll pick a fucking booger right out of your nose. Cause I'm like, dude, come here. What? And I'll go grab it and they'll go, what are you doing? I'm like, you want to go in there?
Right.
Do you want to go in there? I've been in front of people. I remember Taylor, a long time ago, he was like, we're around a bunch of these strippers or whatever. And this is when we were hot and everything. And we're all in our get-ups and shit. And I'm going, ha, 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 all night. We're like, oh, you're so hot, girl. This is great. You're funny. And like, just smiling all the time, right? And I go in the bathroom. I got like fucking pepper like all in my teeth.
Nobody
and I
told
come
me.
back out and look right at Taylor and go, you motherfucker. And he's like, what? I was like, I didn't tell me I had fucking February. He goes, I didn't want to embarrass you. I was like, no more than I was.
I had a salad in my face.
Yeah, he's just cock blocking me.
Yeah. Let's talk about, the making of the album is one thing. Dealing with different producers and all that kind of stuff to get a sound. But videos.
Hate them all.
Hate them all.
Hate them all.
Pain in the ass.
I like videos.
Hate them all.
You've done the work creating the song, and now you're
faking
it with some sort of a script.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, who would be the main thought process behind like the
video?
Yeah, the video,
Morgan, tell us.
Boarding it out.
Tell us, was that your imagination?
Or were you just showing up and going, damn, I got to do another video?
I mean, there were a few moments that were okay, but the process of it was just like playing to dead drums, and acting. I remember doing a video to one of the songs, and the guy was telling me, let's do it again. And he goes, Morgan, like, be the guy. And I was like, oh, this is like Teen Wolf.
Yeah, right.
You want me to turn into the guy, but it's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah.
And that's as real as it gets.
Yeah.
I don't get ready to go on stage and go, oh, yeah, I got to remember to do these stupid faces and play this way and do this trick here. Yeah. Did I do that trick there the right way? It's not about that. It's about
do what you feel.
Turning into being able to be vulnerable and be who you want to be.
Yeah.
I'm playing and it's real.
Yeah. Well, you got 10,000, 15,000 people.
I can't do that shit. I cannot do the video.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I love them.
Yeah.
It happened to
Etzel
opposite. Did the Falcons video. Etzel was involved in us doing the Falcons video.
Really?
And Etzel was getting frustrated with me because I couldn't be the guy.
Wow.
Etzel produces videos and shit?
He did that video back then.
I didn't know that.
He hooked that whole thing up. And he was like, dude, give me some more spins or like do the thing, be the guy.
Yeah.
And
Come
I'm
on,
like,
cut your neck with your throat with the drumstick.
Cheerleaders all over the place, man. And I'm playing these drums and I can't hear the song through the fucking PA because it ain't loud enough and I'm old and deaf. And back then I was still old and deaf.
Yeah.
He used to do this thing with his stick. He'd slice his throat with his stick. Oh, I love that. I'll tell you you want to know something funny?
How did that come out? I mean, like when you did it the very first time, was it just like,
oh yeah, I mean it all come out from nowhere.
Dude,
because you felt it, because you were.
This whole thing really started from nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't even know really why it started. Somebody gave me the finger one night, and I said, "Fuck you too,
back,
pal."
Yeah.
From the crowd.
Yeah,
and
then it started to get into the thing where then it just got where I just wanted to be behind a sheet. I didn't want anyone to see me playing in my sandbox.
You wanted to be the
Just
gorilla.
a silhouette.
Gorillas.
A silhouette.
Spin out on my own.
Yeah.
A silhouette of you.
Yeah, I didn't
and you
want.
could act like
let
you
me
could
play
do the
by
rabbit.
myself.
You could. Once you do that now with the rabbit, you could shoot the rabbit and the rabbit dies or something. That'd be cool.
I mean, I just didn't want them looking at me.
The funny,
funny
shit is like they play live. Anytime I'd come to a show or they come to where, like in Myrtle, they'd come to Myrtle and I'd always go to those shows. And in Atlanta, I'd go to some of their shows. I don't go to their shows in Atlanta anymore. It's fucking nightmare.
You got one coming up in September, right?
Yeah.
Eastern?
Yeah. Eastern, yeah.
It's chaos. It is.
It's a lot of
as
work.
it should be.
It is.
It is a lot of work.
And at home, when you're at home, it's chaos. But so it's funny because like every time he's gonna know this too. Every time they do a show, Morgan, like we spot each other. It's always he's looking for me, and I know where he's at, but I'm always looking at him. I'm just watching him or Vinny. It's like those two, and I'm just watching. Every time, dude, he does the freaking stick and tosses it right to me, and every fucking time I've dropped it, every single time, and he's like, it's like he's like, fucking Nate, come on, man,
Catch the damn stick.
Jesus, dude, of all times to drop the fucking stick. He's done like one time Tabernacle, he did it like 2 or 3 times. It's like, I'm coming at you again. You ready? And I'm like, fuck, what the hell, dude? It's like we're in our own little world. It's like no one's in the room but us, and he's like, dude, you're fucked, man. I'm stopping now. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it.
Well, on the video stuff, I agree. It sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, you are acting out. You know, you're just okay.
I love acting.
What do you do? Yeah,
love
you
acting.
and cheerleading.
He's a
from the
great
last
man.
podcast.
He lives for that area.
I love
You know,
that
he
shit.
can do that all day.
Lights,
My
makeup.
yeah.
He loves it.
My thing is
Loves it.
we were shooting a video and didn't get permits. We were at the Pullman Yard, which they've now renovated into a nice venue.
What is that?
It was an old abandoned like rail station, or it was an abandoned death trap, is what it was.
Right, like behind the rec room.
Yeah, and
That
we
bridge.
didn't get we didn't get
We
permission
shot our chain gang video on that motherfucker.
and got arrested by the Capitol Police because it apparently was
It's
owned
federal.
federal land.
Wow.
So
Did you film that?
yes, we have
See,
footage.
that would should've
Hey,
been on
they
there.
locked us together. Crisscross applesauce.
What?
I was like Swift and
Like a chain gang?
Jeff. Yeah. And it was like 150 degrees in the van. I had
Nice.
a tie on.
I
It was enough.
Man, that would have definitely been the last video
Yeah.
I ever did. I mean, they were bad, but I didn't get arrested.
Yeah, it was brutal.
That is brutal.
But producers and songwriting, Clint Lowry,
Yeah.
Yeah.
his
My
brother
idol.
Corey
Yeah. Corey.
has produced every record that Hope Sniker has ever done
Oh,
and
wow,
will
really?
ever do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's like
Corey's a great guy,
It's
too.
it's him, or we're not doing a record.
I like Corey. Really?
And we actually
There's other people out there, you know.
no.
They do
Remember,
exist.
you found that one you like, go with it. But
No, you're right.
I think the second record, a lot of it was recorded. Corey had a room at RTM.
Oh, yeah.
Froge had a room here,
Yeah,
kind
I
of a
remember
bigger
that.
room.
Yeah,
Well,
I
Froge's
tracked
was that-
the drums for the I Empire record in there.
Exactly. That little room we recorded the whole record in.
Yeah.
And it's unreal what you can do now. Now, earlier
We
you
did
were...
the VCV thing in Froge's that in the backpack.
Yeah.
Avatar.
Now, Froge had like
He had a loft and
a
everything.
loft or
Well,
something,
that was
right?
the studio,
Yeah.
basically. That was
Yeah.
Kenny's studio.
Man, those were good times down
Yeah,
there.
it was
The
good.
bathrooms were scary.
It was all scary, man.
Yeah.
It was all scary.
The vending machines with guitar strings and stuff like
Yeah.
that was kind of
yeah,
cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
But some of the venues that you know we were playing, you guys were playing in the early 90s. I got here in 95. There was still Buckhead was still a thing.
Yeah.
So there was
for sure.
you could go out and there were stages to play. It's kind of not like that anymore. But what are some of the venues that you guys played that you might have needed a vaccination after playing it, or
Masquerade.
Masquerade, for sure.
the original one?
Yeah. Rec Room for sure.
Oh, God, the Rec Room.
Yeah.
Is that pre-GG Allen?
That was like, we
God,
were
am I-
like right next to him.
Have you saw G.G. Allen?
He was
Oh,
there. He played
yeah.
at the Rec
We
Room, yeah.
rehearsed there.
Yeah,
We
they
rehearsed
had,
at the Rec
that's
Room.
actually where, like, I remember walking into y'all's room one time there, and it was like, and it was LeJean was in there, and it was like I saw Rumblefish, Crawlspace. I saw that like one
Yeah.
night. I was like, this is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
G.G.
that.
Allen
I was picking Vinny
Yeah.
up. We were supposed to go somewhere. It
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
killer. Yeah, they had a room there, and Vagrant Justice, CC and them, and then
Yeah, it was-
but there wasn't many rooms there. There was like what 3 or 4.
Yeah, there weren't many rooms
Yeah,
there.
but I saw G.G. Allen. Did you see? Were you
Oh,
there?
yeah.
Now,
Throwing shit all
now
over.
live, you saw?
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just
Did
pooped.
you need a vac-
That's where he would play.
Yeah,
There,
he
or
is
he
big.
played the Somber Reptile.
Yeah, I was gonna say Somber Reptile.
I
That
don't
was
think I ever went in there.
just a cement room, black walls.
Yeah, like Star Bar.
Drummer was buck naked on stage and jammed a drumstick up his ass. Well, and then through the drumstick, there was probably 10 people at the show.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
murder junkies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Threw the drumstick, and it just went clink, 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 clink on the
On the
ground.
floor.
And there was a 60-year-old woman in a schoolgirl's outfit that ran up and grabbed the drumstick off the floor and went back to her seat and went, no. And that's how
Like fucking
disturbing
Thunderdome,
that
dude.
shit
That was
going.
Bartertown, buddy. Who run Bartertown?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Fucking
was-
Master Blaster.
That happened. And
Yeah.
Lisa Hornsby was bartending that night, and it was like,
Squirrel.
it happened. Squirrel
Wow.
was there. She
Squirrel
saw
was
it.
there,
She
buddy.
can vouch for it.
Man, the Rec Room. Because Danny owned the Rec Room. our manager.
Okay, yeah.
Dude,
We got signed. That's where we got signed out of.
The Rec Room.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, didn't Danny also have Star Coach?
He still does,
He
yeah.
still does. He's still doing the tour buses and
Yeah.
tour support.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny. We
how
were
old
at
is
freaking Rec Room one night. You guys, me and Dennis. It was, we were starving, dude. We were just starving.
Needed food, yeah.
They had food there.
And they had food, but they didn't. Nothing was being. Danny, I will say, makes the best wings ever. His hot wings, he puts honey and stuff in it, like everybody does, whatever. But for some reason, his are just better.
Yeah.
Just can't stop eating them.
Yeah.
But there was nothing to eat there. But there was this fucking. Do you remember on the bar they had the jar of pickled eggs?
Oh, you know.
No, dude, we ate like half of that jar, and it was. I'll never forget that.
It was a bizarre place.
Yeah.
It was very bizarre.
Well,
Very
that
strange.
was the cool thing about the Atlanta scene back
I
then.
have a
Is
nick
that
right here on my head from Rec Room, right here.
a dent?
Yeah, right here. I
Hanging speaker?
was doing a show with me and Ben Kenny, a buddy of mine. We had a band called Mini Pearl Jam. It's just acoustic type stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a reason to just go out and party or whatever.
Right.
Not for him, for me, but for him it was like,
Yeah.
I was just like, anything, whatever.
What
Is
do you
there
wanna
going to
do?
be beer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the back door, because they had like what they were attempting to make a volleyball court back there with the sand in the
yeah,
back,
right.
the back
Yeah,
courthouse. Yeah, it didn't end up being a volleyball court.
Yeah.
It was something that, like, after the Holocaust was a volleyball court. They dropped a bomb there or something.
Yeah.
So I'm out there with what was his name? The other dude, Doug or
Toe?
no, not Toe, the other guy,
Jeff or Dave?
Dave. I think Dave. Yeah.
Dave, yeah.
So we were out there, and then Ben comes in that big metal door that you go outside. Ben pushes that thing open, and he's like, "Hey, man, getting ready to go on." And I'm like, "Cool." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So it closes, and I go to grab the door. Well, that door was famous for sticking.
Oh.
Well, somebody fucking fixed it that day. Because I went and grabbed it and went, yeah!
Right.
Whack, kicked me right in my head, dude. And I was bleeding all down my face like a G.G. Allen show.
Yeah.
Up there playing. I was like wiping the blood off. I was like,
Oh, man.
This is horrible. Still there. I didn't get stitches either. I didn't care.
Hey, worst injury or stage mishap
I got a
in
bunch.
all these years? No, the worst one. Think of the worst
The
one.
worst one.
The worst one happened at the Rec Room before we ever got signed.
Wow.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Headset that it was an Audio Technica and it didn't have a pad on one of the ends, so it hooks on from the back.
Yeah.
And I had long hair, just like curly long hair.
Ready for this? I gotta hear
Dude,
this.
it's no good.
It's great.
And so I'm
talking about?
playing and it's not working. So
You get mad.
I get mad and I pull it off and then they give me the backup. The backup is a different one. I don't even remember what that one was, but that one didn't work either. They pull that one off. They give me back the one with the missing the pad. So it's just a rod, like a horseshoe
With
rod.
a spear on the end.
Right.
And put it back on. It's not working. And I'm like, fuck, that's fucking. I'm losing my shit. I pull it off and now it's caught in my hair. And I'm like, fucking things caught in my hair. And I'm playing, I'm trying to play and the cable is now getting wrapped in my arm. And the thing's like hanging like this. So it's getting caught every time I swing.
Right.
So I go like this to whip it off. And that post, it was on this side. The post without the pad goes
right in the
ear hole.
Oh!
Like a dart. It goes like that. And I was like, I yanked it out. And when I did, it ripped my eardrum.
Oh!
So I
didn't.
scratched my inner ear and it blew up my eardrum like a pizza. So it was completely deaf immediately.
Pizzas blow up? I've never seen them.
Like it looked like it was cut like a pizza.
Oh, wow. Shit.
And so all the volume's going into this ear now, which I never understood how that worked, but it just became excruciatingly loud here to where it felt like that one was going to blow. So they finally turned it, because we were wedges.
The wedges, yeah.
Turned the fucking wedge down. I'm trying to hide from it, playing with one hand.
Damn, dude.
And I could see the mist in the lights where when it went like that and I was like, pulled it out, blew up.
The gas from
And,
your
like,
brain.
the shit from my ear. Like,
Damn.
It's fucking nasty, dude.
and then-
Really?
Yeah, man. It was crazy.
I never heard.
So I was deaf for about 2 weeks.
Ugh.
And then one day I'm like, I'm never going to hear again. Clint tried out to be in the band.
Yeah.
And I had shotgun headphones on with earplugs in front of them. So I never heard anything. And I was like, how is it? And they're like, it's real good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, maybe one day I'll be able to hear it. I never heard him audition.
I hope I get to enjoy it one day.
Yeah. And then one day it was like deaf and it just went
Damn. Just came back.
like real loud screech and I went, oh shit. And I was like, oh damn, I can hear it. You know, like it just like it
Praise Jesus!
It went together, you know.
Wow.
And I started
You're so
hearing.
lucky. I mean,
yeah.
that makes me kind of feel okay about having a little tinnitus.
I mean, I got the tinnitus on top of all
Yeah.
that now, so it's like, you know.
Damn.
yeah.
Mine wasn't. Mine was more emotionally painful.
Well, my worst was the fucking "Are they ready for skin tight?" shit. That was the worst one.
Still therapy on
That's
that one.
still bad.
Mine was it was here in Atlanta. I can't remember where it was. I think it was actually at the Roxy. It was Avondale. We played there later on, right? Like a year later or half a year later or whatever.
No, not to stop you, but is that the Avondale that then became the 37 Main Avondale?
I think so. Avondale
in the
Town
movie
Cinema.
theater.
Yeah.
That
Is
used
it
to
the
be-
same place?
I think so.
Oh, I haven't been back
Oh,
there.
dude,
since
that
it
the
didn't
scene of the
last long.
crime.
Didn't
Yeah.
last long. Didn't
Yeah.
last long. They're not there anymore.
37 Main.
Yeah,
It's gone?
Yeah,
So there's no venue there now.
I don't think so.
We should open it up.
That's so sad.
Yeah, what a venue! I mean, I
it's awesome.
I got to play it not too long ago when it was 37
Yeah.
Main. I think the area it's hard to get people.
Yeah.
It's hard to get people to go anywhere. There's no parking, and it's downtown.
Well, there's a
downtown.
studio over there too.
Yeah.
Where me and Bevan did that record over there.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
I can't remember if it was the Roxy or Avondale. That's when the stage diving shit started happening.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Jesus.
just coming into play. So
Yeah.
at the end of
And you're just the idiot to do it,
man,
aren't
listen,
you?
at the end of the song. It never happened before. It was always a thing. It was fine. Like Masquerade when you played upstairs.
Yeah.
It's packed. It's cool. You jump out and they catch you. And you're like,
Yeah.
it's awesome. I fucking did it that one night there. And everybody just kind of moved up.
Eesh.
And all you saw, I think it's on film. I got it on a VCR cassette,
Yeah.
VCR cassette at the house, where I just go, yeah, and I do my big jump out, right? And you just see me disappear. And it goes, thunk. You can hear the mic go, thunk. And I go, then you can hear me go, I'm all right, I'm all right.
That's not good.
That's great.
That's a bad
That's
one.
awesome. I laughed at it. I was
That's-
like, they're
that's
like,
good,
aren't you
though.
embarrassed? I'm like, no, that's brilliant. I
Yeah.
freaking will take that to the grave with
I
me.
mean, if you laugh at anything, no one can say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you
Yeah.
care?
Yeah, it's all one of the things.
I jumped on plenty of monitors that rolled.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I had
away.
I had an issue at CJ's Landing, I believe it was.
CJ's Landing.
And we were in the back playing, and you know, whoever thought this was a good idea, you know, the hanging PA speakers that are
Flying.
just above your head height.
Oh, yeah.
And
Jump on that
you
move.
jump,
Yeah.
man. And same thing, blood
Yeah.
coming down. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh my god, but you can't stop.
Yeah.
You can't stop.
No, you keep going, man.
But man, that shit hurts.
I always just get right on the mic. Go, did y'all see that? Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Then
totally
you're
saw
good.
that.
Yeah, sell
Good.
it.
Yeah,
you
come
sell
on.
it. Hey, man, it happens.
Yeah, come on.
Wow.
It was supposed to. I meant to do that.
So before we got started, Morgan sat down behind the drums, and I said, "They're on." And he started playing them. Man, as soon as you started playing them, you started smiling, and I was
That's a
like,
miracle.
"That is a beautiful
hate the
thing,"
drums.
because I hate the drums. You've been playing them for so long, but yet it still brings a smile to your face.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the twilight for sure.
Yeah.
It's
like
home.
this band is definitely not going to be around much longer.
Yeah.
You know, the touring side of things will come to an end, and then, you know, I mean, we've written enough songs, so that will probably stop too, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we're institutionalized in that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't have I have an electronic kit at my house that I haven't really set up. Like Nathan came over and set
Started
up some
setting
of
it
it.
up.
Yeah.
You know, and it stopped right there.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
That's my graduation to to be honest with you, I don't practice at all. So I've spent more time on this kit, which was probably about 33 seconds than I do getting ready for a tour in 10 years.
Yeah.
But not that I recommend it. I just don't practice at all. Never have.
Yeah.
And I don't want to play them.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with them. So, because we played enough.
Yeah.
I've beaten the drums out of my life. So occasionally I'll sit down and if I play, I'm like,
Giggles.
Still got a little bit. There's
you
still a little
got
bit in there.
Yeah.
But
Well, what do you think is next?
I'm definitely going to transition into producing.
I was going to say,
we're going to open up a putt-putt.
and a putt-putt golf course. No. I mean,
it's
I'll
only 7 holes.
Transition to that.
Yeah.
There's only 7 holes.
Why?
Because there's only seven holes. It's my lucky number.
So
it was funny. We went to a show the other night, and he goes, "Sit anywhere," and had the table it's numbered. And the guy goes, "Sit there," and it's got the 7 on it. And he's like, "Hell yeah!" I was like, "Yeah, my lucky number." He's like, "What?" Oh, 7. Shit, I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, after all the years of playing drums and everything, I mean, a drum roll, what's that about? 4 feet, maybe 4.5 feet going around in the radius. In all your years, how many miles of drum rolls do you think you've done? Miles.
I mean, I don't do a lot of drum rolls, I guess. I mean, my thing is more, how many of these have I done?
Oh, yeah.
Like, how many
of
those have happened?
Right.
How many of those have happened?
Right.
Or those.
Yeah.
Or this one.
Yeah.
Or that one. It's like
Don't you have that?
I mean, you couldn't
like
even
an app?
calculate it, right?
Can't you get an app?
Well,
like a
have you ever
Morgan
tried
app?
to put like a pedometer on, or it'd be
There's a
interesting.
woman that does that. She did a few of my friends too, and she was scheduled to do me. I think COVID happened to stop it, and then there was talk of her doing it again. I forget why it didn't happen, but I mean, I'm curious. It's more of like a heart rate thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really, the last few tours, it's been weird. It's like I was telling Lizzie, I'm like, I'm having no problem out here, dude. Like, I'm just like, my heart rate doesn't go above 90. Like, I can just go as hard as I want. I'm in probably better shape than I was back then, but the structural part of the body is breaking down.
Yeah.
So the back is garbage.
Yeah. Lower back.
It's really more of a lumbar area.
Yeah.
Hands suck.
Yep.
Neck is shit.
Yep.
It's shoulders are roasted.
Yeah, my shoulders are shot.
Yep.
So it's like
My feet, yeah.
that was like the idea of like, okay, I'm not going out like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna go out as hard as I can go out all the way, and I'll do it that level until, well, I was gonna say until the wheels fall off, but when the wheels fall off, then everybody goes, "Oh,
it's too late."
I remember when it used to be real something."
Yeah. He should
And
stop.
then
He
they go,
should really
yeah,
stop.
Somebody in another band would be like, that guy's got to go.
No, nothing's worse. Nothing's worse than when your fans.
These two got to go.
Nothing's worse. Nothing's worse than when your fans. Everybody's got certain fans that get close over the years, and then they get real close, and then it's at the point where it's like, man, they start saying things to you. It's like,
we have the most loyal supporters there is.
Sure.
That's what's kept us alive this long.
Yeah.
I mean, because we shouldn't be around anymore. I mean, we've had so many bad decisions and people that have tried to destroy us, and managers that stole and robbed from us, and other ones that tried to blackball us. And I mean, it's like everyone's tried to kill the cockroach that is SEVENDUST.
Right.
It's those close fans though that, man, they're
Our
very
people
helpful
are
and
just
insightful.
ridiculous.
But then they're not going to ever let you go.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, I mean, it's happening for sure. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to literally do it. It's going to happen. I'm not going to say when, but that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's going to happen on our terms.
Yeah.
That way, I mean, we just went out and did a whole album cycle, and it was bigger than anything we'd done. And I was like, damn, man, it would be really cool if I was like 10 years younger.
Right.
And I didn't have, the last few years of my kid,
right.
still wanting to hang out with me a little bit at least.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And Clint has like ones that are getting to that age where it's like they'll start drifting.
Yeah, you don't want them off to college.
Yeah,
And
I've got one that's gone.
College? Come on, man.
Yeah.
College is not even. No,
Yeah,
we're not doing
mine's
college.
2 years left.
Yeah, but you got 17 kids over
we're not
there.
doing college. Get a tool belt.
Yeah.
We're not doing college. I got a rake over here with your name on it, pal.
Rake 101.
Yeah,
class.
Rake 101, buddy. You're a Harvard raker. Yeah.
Columbia School of Raking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, those people up at Columbia need to learn how
They
to
got a
do some
scholarship.
right, yeah.
They got a scholarship to wax on, wax off, pal.
University of Miyagi.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
No shit.
Well, man, what's this? The next tour? I know that you guys are playing here in September. When's this run start?
Well, we do festival stuff. We do. I think we're in like Illinois in June, just a fly date.
Yeah.
Doing a few festivals, and then September we'll be here. That starts. I think it starts
You're here the 25th.
25th,
Yeah.
so it's got to be like
Oh, I
right
got it
around.
I got it right here.
It's got to be right around the beginning of the month.
Yeah, I know you're here the 25th.
June 21st, starting in Quincy.
Oh,
That's right.
Then
Then you're
ju-
back home.
then-
oh yeah, it doesn't end here. It starts around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then July.
It
Looks
ends
like July. You kind of
October or something.
start going.
Few festival shows, you know. Then we'll have all of or one show in August, I think.
Yeah.
This is like the real good break for us.
Yeah.
When everybody else gets really busy, we're like, we won't compete with any of that. We'll just go,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to LA Saturday for a week and then do those few shows. I'm going to go to Iceland for a week.
Oh, nice. Where in Iceland? Because they got kind of a volcano going
Does
on
it
right
matter?
now.
Does it matter?
Right now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been going on for the past 2 months.
Nice.
Yeah, dude.
That's where it all goes
There's a
down.
volcano in Iceland. Why is it Iceland's green and Greenland's ice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like
Light
that.
there when I'm there. Like it never goes dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that in
yeah.
Alaska when I was a kid, man. My dad took us to Alaska when we were little.
Yeah, I was just talking to some guys in Sweden. and- Sweden.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
That's how they count.
And it was
The Swedes, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
it was like 8 or 9 o'clock. We were in the middle of a podcast, and the guy's sitting and there's a window behind him, and it's like blue, like that blue light behind him. I was like, dude, what time of day is it there? He's like, 8:30.
Yeah.
It's like, does it get dark there? And he's like, no, not really. We get like 4 hours of darkness. I was like, wow.
Crazy.
And I asked him,
Yeah.
I said, do you guys really have IKEAs over there? And he's like, yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, they made them.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah, tell them to send the directions over next time. Jesus Christ.
In English.
I got some friends from Sweden. They're called the Royal Swedes, actually. They're doing Royal Caribbean cruises when we were doing cruises.
Yeah.
And super fun, hysterical guys. They're super, super funny guys. And they'd be like, Swedes.
Yeah.
Guys, man, you guys are awesome. They go, we don't smile, we don't talk, we drink vodka.
They drink, yeah. they're good
We
drinkers.
drink and don't smile and don't
Right.
talk. I was like, you smile and y'all some happy son of a bitches.
Yeah.
I saw Sabaton open up for Priest.
I did too.
Yeah.
They
You were
were
there.
brilliant.
You like them?
I liked them. I liked them
Hey, man,
mainly because
You can post this shit. They're like the bad guys in every Disney movie.
oh, they were
God.
yeah, they had the costumes out.
We are Sabaton.
They sing about
Yeah.
they sing
Say
about
yes.
they sing about ancient battles.
Yeah, they do. But,
And everything's a battle theme.
and everything's marching. It's
yeah.
like
Chomp.
That's crazy.
Well, there was
like
one
the-
in 6/8 that I really had.
it's like the
yeah, they kind of
There you
swung
go.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, like the dudes in Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
But
Whoa.
everything's
yeah.
with a smile. It goes, we are Sabaton.
Yeah. Well, the reason I liked them, there was
We like being here.
hey,
We're glad you came.
there was
when
a-
the drummer's riser was a tank.
it was a tank.
Oh, nice.
But
Yeah.
it didn't look like a tank.
Well, it was
It looked like green cardboard.
a Lego tank.
Yeah,
It was
Lego tank.
Oh.
They
there-
all wore camouflage.
There were two kids
It
that
was awesome.
there were two kids that were like 7, 8, and then like 10. His
Right.
brother, and they were just like singing all the lyrics.
That's creepy.
And I had to go down
That's
and talk to him.
amazing.
I was like, "How do you guys know this band?
Right.
I've never heard them.
Sabaton.
I found them on YouTube." I said, "Well, what is it that you like about them?" It's historic.
Right.
I was like, man, what a niche.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, that's
so
where
cool.
Resistant Bite came from. Was the song they've got called Resistant Bite Sabaton. I'm like, man, we should have really thought that through.
Yeah.
Really thought that through.
No shit.
Every tune was just like a Disney bad guy, like bad armies from Disney.
Yeah.
I think you were being a little too critical. It was fun.
They were.
Hey, I left during Priest.
I mean, who am I? They were opening for Priest.
Yeah.
I mean,
I left during Priest because I could
you
not
left
hear.
during Priest?
Yeah, well, I had to work at 6 a.m. the next day, but I heard no kick drum. I heard no bass guitar.
Really?
I could hear them, but I couldn't feel
Right.
anything. No low end.
Right? Were you in the? I was in the orchestra seating, whatever.
I was in the box.
You were in the box. So you?
And I was right next to the soundboard.
Yeah, dude, you were like right over there, like not far away from me at all.
Right. And anyway,
It's like,
bad mix.
But my deal is like with Priest or Maiden, when you go, hey man, I'm going to see Iron Maiden tonight. And they're like, cool, who's opening? I'm like, fucking cares.
Right, yeah.
Judas Priest, who cares who's opening it for them? You're like, oh, Sabaton.
Yeah,
Didn't see that coming. They just looked happy to be there.
They said it several times.
Yeah,
So,
they're like, we're so happy to be here.
so happy to be here.
I was like, I'm happy you're here too, bro. No, they are a killer band.
Yeah, you know what I like too? I mean, I'm nerding out now, but the guitar player on the left side was playing a Strat with scalloped neck Strat, and he was shredding, but he was melodic. It wasn't just a bunch of nonsense notes.
Right.
Yeah.
It was actually
Green Day Malmsteen.
Well, it was Green Day Malmsteen. No, he was actually playing, the Celtic battle style big melodies, which I like that stuff. But
yeah. Oh, I do too. It's cool.
Well, guys, man, I appreciate you coming in, and it's a lot of fun hanging out.
That was crazy reminiscing.
Yeah,
some of
and
that stuff.
Hey, anytime that
We left out a lot of shit.
I know we didn't.
Look at Morty. He's like, stop. We're getting out good here. Buddy.
Yeah,
Stop, Nathan.
Safe so far.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I hope to come see you in at the Eastern on September 25th here in Atlanta. Chattanooga on the 26th, 27th. Yeah, hey, Kiss has had like end of the road tours for the past 75 years.
Oh yeah,
you can do it.
I don't think so.
I think
The Rolling Stones.
Yeah, they're coming back again.
Said, I mean, other than Mick, it's like I could probably do that gig for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of movement going on there other than him.
Sure.
I just think if Kiss is going out again, they should take Mike Tyson on the road with them to introduce him.
Hey, did Tyson just?
Ladies and gentlemen,
He hurt himself.
the world's greatest band.
Well,
Kiss.
Yeah, Tyson just had a medical emergency of some sort. What did you hear about it?
He's still going to kick that boy's ass.
But
he's still going to kick that boy's ass.
I hope so.
All right.
Come on, man. You ain't gonna...
He's got to do it for the old guys here, man.
He's already now down and out on a plane.
Hey.
Nobody even hit him yet.
I was.
It's like, what happened?
Hey, when he was doing what he was doing, assassinating bands.
Oh, yeah.
When he was assassinating people in pay-per-views were 30 seconds long.
Yeah.
You're like, why did I spend $60?
Yeah.
I was actually, I believe it was actually the ear bite fight with Holyfield.
Holyfield, yeah.
I was playing Lou's Blues Review. Speaking of old venues.
Wow. Not Blues Clues, but
Lou's Blues Review Club.
That place.
And we were playing, and they were like, okay, you guys can play your first set, but then you got to stop when the fight starts. And then we were like, well, that'll be 15-minute break.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
But then the biting happened, and then, that whole thing went on for like an hour. And so it was kind of a, I remember.
Well, they're saying, didn't they say something now, like he can't, like it's got to go the first round or some shit? I heard that somewhere.
I don't know.
There are some rules.
I think they killed most of them.
In the rules?
Yeah.
I mean, so what if he knocks? What if he hits a guy? What if he hits a guy and the guy goes down? What's he gonna? That's not his fault.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like regular fight.
I think when Jake Paul feels an actual body punch.
Yeah.
If he hits him like he wants to hit him, it's not gonna be great.
But
everybody got to play until they get punched in the mouth. That's what he says.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm biased because I grew up. We grew up in that era.
I love.
And it's like, man, this guy was just
murderer.
Yeah,
Tyson,
legal murderer.
Yeah.
If you, man, could you imagine that guy, like in the streets, as like a gang member?
Lord.
Imagine just getting could you imagine just like getting irritated with him at a Burger King or something and just turn around and go, dude, not having a clue who he is, not even knowing who he is.
Well, like that guy on the airplane that started with.
Yeah, and he just freaking takes you out. Like, whack, lights out. What happened? 3 days later, you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
You just got knocked out, bro.
Yeah, you did. All right, guys. Well, Morgan, Nathan, thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you, Sonny.
Appreciate you.
We'll get this thing out here.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
We'll see you. Bye.
You're watching the Original Music Podcast. With your host, Raymond Hemms.